Hi. I was just looking on the screen. Love your glasses.
Oh, thank you. Oh, my. Oh, Jesus, thank you so much.
I am so happy to see you. This is so exciting what you're doing.
This is exciting what you're doing right now.
Wow, I can't wait to talk to you. Great.
All right, this is really happening.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, my goodness, Secretary Clinton, I'm so happy, so thrilled to have you to talk to you today.
Thank you.
I remember when I first met you at the DNC, and I was waiting backstage because I was going to sing for you that night.
I remember.
And when you showed up, the nerves calmed down. And the reason why I calmed down is because you were so beautiful. You were so down to earth, so organic, so real, and you just looked like you were just having a ball.
You were so kind to be there for us, to be participating and helping, and I didn't want you to feel nervous because we were honored to have you with us.
Thank you so much. That meant the world to me. And I went on stage and I sang that song like it was the last song I was ever going to sing because I was so empowered.
Thank you.
That moment inspired this moment because I wanted people to get a chance to know who you are behind the politician, because I don't think people give you a fair chance. They're constantly after you, and I don't like it.
Thank you.
And that leads me to my first question.
Right.
People close to you have said that there's a disconnect between who you really are and who people perceive you to be. What do you want people to know about who you really are?
Well, first, Mary, thanks for giving me this opportunity to talk with you. And
You're welcome.
Got to reminisce a little bit because I am delighted to, support this latest venture that you are leading. And I guess the way I would approach that question is to say, look, I think I've always been the same person. I do believe that when you're in the public eye, whether it's in entertainment or it's in politics, you do have the challenge of presenting yourself and having people perceive you as who you think you are. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I've always been someone who feels very blessed, very fortunate. I have a very supportive upbringing and family, and my faith has guided and lifted me up over the years, and I've been given the honor of trying to help people and serve people. And I think some of the misperception is manufactured, and some of it is that I take responsibility for, that maybe I'm not communicating clearly enough what I care about and what I do. But I try to get up every day and make a difference in somebody's life, and I'm very grateful that I've had this chance to do just that over the years.
Well, I wanted to ask you about your faith, and I know it plays a huge part in your life. My faith is everything to me. It's how I wake up. It guides me through my day. It helps me make decisions, business, personal, and it puts me to sleep at night. How has your faith guided you through all of this?
Well, I feel fortunate, as it sounds like you do too, to be a person of faith. I mean, that is something I was raised with. I feel very supported, lifted up, guided by my faith. I have been in lots of difficult situations, and I find that falling back on my faith, relying on my faith, looking for those moments of grace is what can get me out of bed in the morning and keep me going no matter what's happening around me. Being a person of faith has sustained me over the course of my life.
You know, I grew up with a single parent mom, and we lived in the projects. You know, she had 3 jobs, and I watched her keep her integrity to herself, not to fall to pieces in these terrible circumstances. And she gave me a lot of my strength. I would like to know, did your mom play a big part in giving you your strength?
Well, just listening to you talk about your mom, it brought back a lot of the feelings that I have about my mother, because she was the most important role model, the strongest influence in my life. She had a really difficult childhood. She was abandoned by her parents, sent to live with grandparents who didn't want her. And at the age of 13, 14, she was out working as a housemaid and a babysitter. And it sounds harsh, but that was one of those experiences that really worked out well for her, that she was for the first time able to see what a family where people cared about each other looked like, how parents took care of children, because that had just never been part of her whole experience as a young girl. And my mother's resilience, her grit, her intellectual curiosity, her strong will was everything to me. She gave me the words that I live by in so many different circumstances. Having the ability to meet daily challenges. So I think about her all the time. We lost her, but I feel like she's still with me.
She's definitely still with you.
Yeah, definitely with me.
What do you hope you passed on to your own daughter?
Well, it was great because my daughter had a really close relationship with my mother. And so my mother and my daughter talked every day. They were so close. And I feel like my mother was able to, as a grandmother, pass on a lot of those same lessons and ask the hard questions of my daughter that she did of me. But I was a mother who learned how to be a mother from my own mother. So I felt like I was able to channel a lot of her care and love for me to my daughter when I became a mom. And now I'm watching my daughter be a mother with her two little kids. And I see some of me and I see some of my mother. And it's the most extraordinary feeling to know that the generations and the love and the continuity can just go on forever.
How's being a grandmother?
It's the best thing ever. It is so transformative. I feel like I'm the luckiest person because I have a now nearly 2-year-old granddaughter and a 2-month-old grandson, and watching my daughter be a parent and spending time with my grandchildren, particularly over the last 2 years with my granddaughter, it's very life-affirming, and it's also a reminder about how important it is that we stay focused on the future, that we have to do what we can to support our own children and grandchildren, but also every child deserves a chance. And when you were talking about your mom working 3 jobs, getting up when she was tired, going to work, doing everything she could for you, and now you're able to take everything she gave to you and take it out to the world. I want every child, no matter the circumstances of that child's birth or the conditions of that child's life, to have the same chance to live up to his or her God-given potential in our country.
Do you think it's hard for a woman to be both tough and likable?
Yes, I think it's really hard, to be honest. I think it's really hard. I don't know why it's so hard, but I think it's rooted in, tens of thousands of years of how people's lives have been defined, what it's meant to be a woman or a man, and how society was organized. And so for women to be assuming leading roles in business or entertainment or politics or whatever it might be, it still is not fully understood because there's no blueprint for doing it. Everybody comes to it differently. And so people are always judging how we look and how we talk and all the rest of it. I get all of that. But one of the reasons I'm so proud to be running for president is because I want to break that highest and hardest glass ceiling. It's not that I think every little girl and every little boy is going to run for president. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But I want every little girl and every little boy to feel like there are no barriers in America. And I really am against people who try to maintain division and point fingers and scapegoat others instead of saying, hey, the American dream is big enough for everybody. Let's keep growing it. So I know that I'm under a lot of scrutiny and a lot of attention is being paid to me, and I do the best I can. That's all I can do. I can only be myself. Right. And I hope, though, that by running this campaign and I hope winning this campaign, it's going to really change people's minds, and it will open doors for a lot of other people, too.
Right. Well, I've always admired your strength. Right now, my strength is being tested because I'm going through this horrible divorce, but, that's life. But I mean, your public and personal life for decades has been under a microscope. You've been attacked, investigated. How do you get through all of this?
I rely on my faith, my family, my friends, the circle of people who I can trust 100%, who are always there for me. It's not easy being in the public eye, you know that.
Right.
Difficult things happen to everybody, but when you're in the public eye and something is happening that you're going through, it really exaggerates
Yes.
the pressure and the scrutiny because, you know, maybe all you want to do is just go off by yourself and try to work through it and think about what your next step in life will be, but you can't. You've got to get up every day, you've got to do a TV program, you've got to
Yes.
entertain, I have to go out and campaign or whatever it is we're doing. And I think it's important, though, to stay grounded in who you are and what's important.
Yes.
Because the public eye has a way of magnifying things that aren't important and dismissing things that are.
Wow. Yeah.
And so part of my mantra to myself is take criticism seriously. Maybe you can learn something from it, but don't take it personally. Don't let people own your heart, own your mind, really under the pressure you feel, turn you into somebody you're not. And so you have to rely on what is eternal and what is going to be there when you get through the hard parts of your day.
Right. Let's talk about your speech at the convention. Before we get into your speech, let's talk about how you looked. You looked phenomenal in that white. That white was serious. Your hair, your makeup, your sparkly little earrings, and you had jokes, you made us laugh. And my favorite part of your speech is when you said, when any barrier falls in America for anyone, it clears the way for everyone. Where there are no ceilings, sky's the limit.
That's right. I believe that with all my heart, Mary. You know, I think partly because of my mother's own experience. You know, she never got to graduate from college. She was lucky to be able to graduate from high school. And yet she had such resilience, and she believed in, you know, helping other people. That was part of what motivated her every day, because she had been helped, often by strangers who were kind to her. And I believe that if we can do something, just anything, to show kindness every single day to somebody, who knows, it might knock down a mental barrier, a psychological barrier. The happiest people I know, the people who, no matter what kind of stuff is going on in their lives, get up every day and try to make the most of their lives, are people who are trying to help somebody else. When somebody is successful, when they're wealthy, they're at the pinnacle of attention, and they're unhappy, I learned a long time ago that maybe the best thing they could do is go out and find somebody to help. Go tutor a child, go visit a shut-in, go volunteer at a hospital, or if you love animals, go volunteer at a shelter. Do something that helps somebody else. Get out of your head, get out of your pain, get out of your disappointment. And it sounds so simplistic, and we live in a really complicated, fast-moving world, but boy, do I see that. I see that every day, that if you do something for somebody else, it helps you.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just complimenting someone, just smiling at someone, it uplifts them, and
That's
it
right.
uplifts you at the same time.
That's right.
President Obama said there has never been a man or a woman more qualified than Hillary Clinton to serve as President of the United States of America. What was that like to hear?
Well, I was backstage watching him speak, and I did a double take because that was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, he and I became not just partners, but such friends. And I was going to go out after his speech and thank him, and I was thinking, oh, how am I going to go out there? I'm so emotional just hearing him speak. I just hope to do the best job I can. If I'm fortunate enough to be president, I want to get up every single day trying to help people who feel like nobody cares about them. It was an incredible compliment, but it also made me feel even more of a sense of responsibility. If I'm going to do this job, I want to do it in a way that really empowers people and lifts them up. The qualifications, the work and experience that I've done, I hope has prepared me to actually make that kind of a difference.
Well, some people say they're not going to vote at all because they don't like neither you or Trump.
Yeah,
what do
heard
you
that.
say to those people?
Well, first of all, I say I'm sorry you feel that way, and I don't pretend to understand all the reasons, but let me tell you what you are sacrificing by failing to vote. You are basically abdicating the most important right that any citizen has, that people fought and died for, to extend first to all men, because it used to be just men, white men with property, then to black men, and that had to be enforced, and we're still fighting that battle, then to women. And for goodness sakes, think about all those who came before who recognized the critical importance of people voting. And I hope you will find a reason to vote. Obviously, I'd love it if you voted for me, but I also would really like you to vote, because you know what? If you don't vote, you leave the field to people who don't agree with you on anything, somebody who actually takes the time and trouble to vote. And I hope everybody watching will go out and vote. And if you aren't registered, please go to iwillvote.com. Find out how to register. If you are interested in supporting my campaign, go to hillaryclinton.com/volunteer. Be part of this process, because decisions are going to be made, whether you like them or not. So at least make sure that your voice is being heard and your vote is being counted.
Well, all right. May I call you Hillary?
Yes, you may.
Okay, Hillary, I want to share something with you that I haven't shared with anyone. And it's a song that I want to sing to you.
Oh, great.
It was written by Bruce Springsteen 16 years ago, and it means a lot to me because of just everything that's taking place now. I just want to share it with you because I believe that so many women, African-American women, feel like this as they're sending their children off to school in the morning. So, if you don't mind.
I'd love that.
I hope I can sing right because I'm nervous.
Oh, you can, you can.
Okay. "41 shots, Lena gets her son ready for school. She says, now on these streets, Charles, you gotta understand the rules. If an officer stops you, always be polite and never ever run away. Promise mama you'll keep your hands inside. Is it a gun? Is it a knife? Is it a wallet? This is your life. It ain't no secret. It ain't no secret. No secret, my friend, you can get killed just for living in your American skin." Oh, Hillary, thank you.
Oh, Mary. Oh, Mary.
This is how I believe people feel, and I wanted to share that with you because I just want to know, where do we go from here? Yeah. What is the first thing you would do to begin the healing process with all of this? What do we do?
I have been so heartbroken over what's been going on because it's fundamentally at odds with and wrong that African American parents have to sit their children down and deliver the message you just sang. Be careful. And yet we still have so many terrible deaths, some at the hands of the police, many at the hands of others like Trayvon Martin, whose mother I've gotten to know so well. Yeah. I think we've got to be honest that there needs to be a greater opening of our hearts to one another. We have to put ourselves in each other's shoes, feel the pain that a mother and a father feel when their son and daughter can go out the door and they don't know what's going to happen to them. I particularly want white people to understand what that's like and to feel that they must be part of the solution. So there's a lot we need to do. We need to do better training and work with our police so that they don't immediately draw the wrong conclusions. Like the song said, a gun, a knife, or a wallet.
Yeah.
And that they learn better ways to de-escalate tension and violence rather than to escalate and perhaps cause a death. I've met with lots of police officers. Many are honorable and very concerned about this as well. But we've got to do a better job to improve our policing and improve relations between our police and the communities they serve. You should have people respect the law, and the law should respect people. And we're going to work really, really hard. But it's got to start in communities. People have to feel that they have a stake. We've got to do something about the gun violence on our streets. We have too many guns in too many of the wrong hands.
Right.
And I have spent too much time listening to people tell me the horrors of the loss of their loved ones. I've gotten to know the mothers of the movement, mothers who've lost their children to violence. And I've been all over this country meeting with countless family members and loved ones who tell me what happened and beg me to figure out what we can do about it. So I have pledged that I'm going to do everything I can to bring our country together, to take on this violence, to work with our police, to change mindsets, to really address implicit bias. So that young black man walking down the street is not a threat. He's a young black man walking down the street.
Right.
And to do what we can to take on the gun lobby, to get the guns out of our neighborhoods that are being used to kill so many children and young people. So I hope that we will make progress on this.
Yeah.
And it's going to require people listening and respecting each other in order to do that.
I agree. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I've been interviewed so many times. Nobody has sung in the middle of the interview. That was so touching to me. And obviously the issue, the subject is so profound, but just doing it was so moving to me. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
I think you should sing in every interview you do. No, I'm serious. It's like it's just,
Wow.
It's so emotionally powerful, Mary.
Well, thank you, Hillary. That means so much to me. Well, President Obama says that the greatest frustration of his presidency was his failure to pass the common sense gun safety laws. How are you going to do what he wasn't able to do?
I am not going to be silent. I'm going to figure out everything we can do, and I'm going to try to turn it into a voting issue for all those Americans who agree with me that we could achieve common sense gun safety reform. So I respect and appreciate the president and the vice president working so hard, and I'm going to pick up the torch and keep going with it.
A lot of people in my community think that Obama was blocked in Congress because he was black. Do you think you're going to have problems because you're a woman?
Well, I think the president did a remarkable job against a very big set of obstacles. What he accomplished in his first 2 years, saving the economy, saving the auto industry, passing health care reform, passing tough regulations on Wall Street, he really did a lot. And he kept doing things despite the problems that he faced from the Congress. He used the executive authority of the presidency to get things done. I know how hard he worked because I worked with him for those first 4 years. But I'm going to dive right in. And I was in the Senate for 8 years. I was Secretary of State for 4 years. I was First Lady for 8 years. I know how hard it is to get anything done because I watched my husband, I watched President Obama. But I know it's possible because I watched both of them break through the opposition to achieve important goals for our country. And I know a lot of the members of the Congress because we did work together when I was in these other positions. So I'm going to get up every day and work hard. I'm not going to take anything or anybody for granted, and I'm going to try to build relationships to find common ground. And I hope that if you and I are talking in 4 or 8 years, I'll be able to say, well, we got this done and that done, and we're still working on these things.
Thank you. And thank you for not letting them stop you as a woman,
No.
because as a woman, that's,
No, they try to get inside your head. You can't let that happen.
Right. Well, Hillary, I get to call you Hillary. This is too good.
Yes, please.
Okay, just some quick final questions. What's on your playlist?
Oh, well, right now I am listening to Hamilton, the soundtrack from Hamilton,
Lovely.
which I love. I mean,
I loved the play. It was beautiful.
Don't you?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh, I've seen it 4 times, I think.
Wow.
And I saw it at the Public Theater before it went to Broadway. And it's just a work of genius.
Yes.
So it's obsessing me right now. I mean, that's my number one go-to.
Who are your heroes?
Well, my mother,
Right.
for all the reasons we were talking about. Probably the person in public life who I admired the most was Nelson Mandela. I was fortunate to know him for, well, really since 1992 until he died, and to spend a lot of time with him. And I learned so much from him because he came out of prison and he could have been a broken or he could have been a bitter man, and he was neither. And he used his great intelligence and his great personal, emotional understanding to lead South Africa away from apartheid into a new future. There's still a lot of work to be done there, but he was the midwife, if you will, for making that happen. And I've learned so much from thinking about, and at the time when he was alive, listening to him about how if you're in a leadership position, you have to try to reach out to everybody, even people that you know are opposed to you, that you know do not wish you well, because as a leader, you have a responsibility to try to unify people, not divide them.
I love that. All right, what's the last show you binge watched?
Oh, House of Cards.
Okay.
House of Cards, yeah. That's the last one I've binge watched.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, I hope that it will start with being elected, breaking that highest, hardest glass ceiling, and then I will be seen as someone who kept my word, that I can be counted on to bring people together, to set some big goals, making the economy work for everybody, not just those at the top, creating more good jobs and more real sense of the potential that people have. And I particularly am passionate about kids. So trying to help kids, particularly poor kids, kids who don't have the same opportunities that my grandchildren will have. I want to be the president who really got us back together, working like Americans should, rolling up our sleeves, getting things done, and, giving people the chance to live up to their own God-given potential. That's my hope.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank
God.
you, dear. God bless you. Mwah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Hillary.
It meant the world to me. Thanks.
Thank you, Hillary.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you all. Oh, my goodness.
Man.
That was emotional. That was so emotional. Thank you.
No, thank you. Man. Somebody catch me. I'm about to pass out.